The husky wasn't even thirsty, yet it guarded the only water source like a king. Whenever another dog tried to sneak close for a sip, it would bare its teeth and growl. The rest of the pack lowered their heads, too scared to push back. It was the lead dog, and it ruled through fear, until Buck showed up. With one light jump, he landed on the frozen surface. Crack! A small hole split open. Cold water gushed up, and the dogs rushed in, drinking eagerly. The husky's eyes darkened at once. To him, Buck had just declared war. From that moment, he went out of his way to make Buck's life hell, yanking, tripping, mocking him every chance he got. But fate wasn't on his side. That day, the woman went ahead to scout the trail. Without warning, the ice gave way beneath her, and she plunged straight into the freezing lake. The young man ran forward, but the icy water stopped him cold. In a flash, Buck bolted like lightning, diving headfirst into the lake. In the dark, frigid water, he found her, and with every ounce of strength, he pushed her toward the surface. A few heavy blows, and the ice finally split open. The woman was saved, but Buck was swept away by the current. The driver hacked at the ice desperately, knife snapping, hands bleeding, tears mixing with blood. Just when all hope seemed lost, a stick pressed into his hand. He turned around. Buck! Sitting there, calm and unharmed. The man burst out laughing, hugging Buck tight like a child, and from the shadows, the husky's jealous eyes burned. That night, the woman rewarded Buck with a big roasted drumstick. The husky stared, cold light flashing in his eyes. He had made up his mind. It was time to strike. Late that night, Buck chased a rabbit into the woods. After a long run, he finally caught it, but chose to let it go. A second later, the husky lunged forward and killed it in one bite. Blood splattered across the snow, his challenge loud and clear. Buck's anger erupted. The two dogs faced each other, the wind howling through the mountains. The husky attacked first, fast and brutal. Buck stumbled back, losing ground fast. He'd never fought for real before, and fear gripped him. Then he heard the pack barking behind him. In that instant, something in his eyes changed. His blood ignited, and the wildness deep within him finally awoke. With a roar, Buck turned and struck back, slamming the husky into the snow. One move decided it. The fight was over. The pack went wild, howling their new king's name. The husky tucked its tail and disappeared into the woods. The next morning, the driver couldn't find his lead dog. Buck stepped forward to volunteer. The man shook his head, thinking Buck was too reckless. But with no other choice, he fastened the harness around Buck's neck. "We're going to be 2 days late," he muttered. But the moment the sled started moving, it flew like the wind. Snow sprayed in every direction. The air roared around them, and Buck led the team full speed ahead, arriving 2 days early. The driver shouted in joy, his voice echoing across the mountains. And that very shout triggered an avalanche. The mountain thundered, a wall of white crashing down. "Run!" he screamed. Buck didn't hesitate. He looked up once, saw the shadow of death racing toward them, then spun around, leading the team straight into an ice cave. A miracle. They made it. When the snow finally settled, they hadn't just survived. They'd reached the finish line early. Under the golden sunset, Buck watched people smiling as they received their letters. And in that moment, he understood. A sled dog's purpose wasn't just to deliver mail, but to carry warmth from one heart to another. The next morning, the dogs set out again. The town cheered, the snow sparkling under the morning light. But this time, an old man ran up, waving a letter. "I wrote this all night," he said, breathless. Buck stopped, quietly taking the letter in his mouth. "You're a lucky one," the driver grinned. "Buck's my boss." From that day on, the sled team was never late again. They always arrived early, Buck leading the way, head high, proud and fearless. But good times never last. The world was changing. Telegrams replaced sled dogs. The wheel of fate kept turning. Tears filled the driver's eyes as he sold them off. A few days later, they were bought by a gold prospector. The moment Buck saw the man's whip, a bad feeling crept up his spine. The sled was frozen to the ground, and the dogs, half starved, couldn't pull it free. The prospector didn't understand. He decided they were just lazy. Without a word, he raised his stick to strike. But an old man stepped in front of him. The stranger grabbed the handle and helped pry the sled loose himself. He guessed the man was heading for the fabled River of Gold, and he warned him that the weather was warming up. Traveling now was suicide, but the prospector wouldn't listen. He thought the old man was trying to hold him back on purpose. And sure enough, the days grew warmer. The snow softened beneath their feet, and every mile grew harder. Still, the man barked orders behind them, whipping and cursing. Then the yellow dog collapsed, dragging the whole team downhill. Buck dug in his paws, fighting with every ounce of strength to stop the slide. By sheer will, he held them steady. But the heartless man decided the dogs were lazy again and brought his whip down hard. Their cries echoed through the mountains, and Buck could only grit his teeth, dragging forward, refusing to let a single teammate fall behind. When they finally reached the top of the hill, Buck's body was spent. Every muscle burned, his strength drained completely. The man looked at him like he was worthless. Without hesitation, he pulled out his gun,